Hey everybody, it's Carlos here, and today we're going to be going over my top 5 Gen 1 ground type Pokemon. Now, before we begin, I just wanted to let you guys know that these are clearly my opinion, and you can have a completely different list. It's totally cool. We're going to still be friends, alright? And without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so starting off with number 5, it's going to be Nidoking and Nidoqueen. These Pokemon are completely beasts in Gen 1 simply because they're just a female and a male. King and Queen. It's pretty cool. This opened up the possibilities in future Pokemon games to have both female and male Pokemon, and that in itself is pretty amazing. These two Pokemon are identical move-wise, typing-wise. It's pretty awesome. They can both utilize their attacks to their full potential in sort of different ways actually. Nidoking is a physical attacker while Nidoqueen is a defensive. It's pretty amazing, and they're one of the first stage 3 evolution types that you can get in the game, starting off with Nidorans as boy and girl, and then finding the stone in one of the first caves that you see in the game. It's pretty awesome, and that's why they're number 5. Alright, so coming in at number 4 is going to be Sandslash. Sandslash is one of those underutilized Pokemon in Gen 1 simply because it doesn't have that great of stats. Sure, it has a pretty decent attack and slightly better defense, however, it's not something to go and write home about, basically. Sandslash is capable of learning the signature ground type moves such as Fissure and Earthquake. With a pretty decent speed stat and stab capability, you might be able to put in a few shots in with it if you're lucky. Sandslash does evolve into its current form at level 22 from Sandshrew, and from there on, that's pretty much it. It doesn't learn that many more moves afterwards, besides the TMs and a few fighting moves that you can teach it as well. Unfortunately, it's still not that great in competitive play even to this day, unfortunately. We'll see with the new Alola form in Sun and Moon, which it becomes a steel ice type. That looks completely awesome, by the way. You need to check that out. But this is Gen 1. And Gen 1, he's not that great, but he does have one of the better designs in Gen 1, simply because it's one that makes sense with the world. Sandslash is one of those cool looking Pokemon that is a spiky hedgehog, which is pretty awesome. And this coming from a 90s guy, like, you already had Sonic at that time, and then you come out with Pokemon and you see another hedgehog that looks just as badass and looks like it can claw you to half, like rip up your insides and whatnot, and it buries under the ground so it can be all sneaky like that's pretty cool. And basically for that reason alone, Sandslash becomes number 4 on this list. Sorry bud, but maybe I'll revisit you back when Sun and Moon come out. And coming in at number 3 is going to be Digtrio. Digtrio is one of those annoyingly fascinating kind of Pokemon simply because nobody knows what it looks like waist down, basically, although that sounded kind of weird. Anyways, nobody knows what it looks like the entirety of the Pokemon. Nobody knows. 20 years later, nobody still knows. It's kind of a weird thing. I feel like they're not really going to show us what Digtrio really looks like, or even just a Diglett for that matter. Even though we know it's a mole Pokemon, we probably won't find out what it actually looks like until we get like a mega of it or something. Who knows? But it also does have one of the more annoyingly catchy Pokemon cries in the anime. You know, Diglett dig, Diglett dig, Trio, Trio, Trio. You know, why did you just make me do that? That's mean. Anyways, though, Digtrio is also surprisingly fast with one of the highest speed stats in the game. It is deceivingly fast, and it naturally learns Earthquake at 47. That's pretty good for a ground type. You get a bunch of speed and high attack as well. Although Digtrio does cap out its attack at 258 or around there, it's still pretty powerful when you pair it up with Earthquake and the speed of a god. It is deceivingly amazing, and that's why Digtrio is number 3. If you were lucky enough to have a friend to trade with back in Gen 1, you could easily get a Golem. Evolving from Geodude into Graveler at level 25, Graveler can instantly become a Golem if you have a friend ready to trade you. Golem has a super high defense at 358, somewhere around there, with a super high attack of like 318, 320, somewhere around there. with it being capable of learning Earthquake at level 36, it's one of the earlier ones you can get in the game. Like, are you kidding me? This is amazing. Unfortunately, because of its dual typing of rock and ground, it does get a weakness of 4 times against water and grass. That sucks pretty bad. But when you mix it in with that high attack and high defense, you'll be sure that Golem can probably take a hit. Like, no joke, it's probably gonna take that hit and then come swing right back at you with even more damage. It's crazy. Golem is one of the best Pokemon I have in Gen 1 simply because of that, and I really hope that it gets a Mega Evolution to get it back into the meta. It's gonna be so cool. I can completely see Golem having a dual typing of like fire and ground or something. That would completely be awesome. Golem, you're number 2 simply because of those weaknesses, and even though you've got some buffs over the years and stuff, you're still gotta be number 2 for Gen 1. Sorry, bro, but the top spots can only go to one Pokemon. So I also do have to give an honorable mention to a ground type Pokemon here that not a lot of people have probably used but know very much of, and that Pokemon is Marowak. Simply because when you're first introduced to the whole Cubone and Marowak's line of Pokemon, it's pretty much in Lavender Town when you realize that the Cubone that Mr. Fuji was taking care of was orphaned because of Team Rocket when its mother Marowak sacrificed itself to save her baby. It's one of the first instances in Pokemon where you really figure out that these Pokemon aren't just regular creatures that are meant to be caught, battled, and trained with, and that's the end of their lives. Like, they actually have lives within their own families, and they take care of each other, and it's real to them. And although Marowak doesn't have the best stats around, it does have a pretty unique move in Bone Meringue, which is, you know, pretty cool. It's the only type of Pokemon that can learn that move, so I think it's pretty cool. And it's getting a new form in Alola as a fire ghost type, which is pretty badass, and I'm looking very forward to that. But I had to give an honorable mention to Marowak simply because of the story and lore behind this Pokemon and how we first meet it. And that top spot's gotta go to Righton. Righton is a very interesting Pokemon, mainly because it's one of the first Pokemon, actually. It was the first Pokemon coded into the game, as well as one of the first featured artwork for the idea of Pokemon itself. While it's kind of rough to kind of see and everything because it's an early drawing, Righton was still one of the first Pokemon introduced when the idea came out. Unfortunately, it does have the 4 times weakness to the water and grass, but unlike Golem though, Righton can back his stuff up. Like, seriously. It can learn Surf, awesome. It could learn Thunderbolt, awesome. And it can learn some fighting moves also. Like, what are you doing, Righton? Like, you should not be able to do all of this badass stuff. It also has one of the super high stats in the game for attack and defense, even higher than Golem per se. It can probably take Golem on, no joke. Yeah, it's pretty amazing like that. Righton is one of the coolest Pokemon in the game simply because of its design. It has like a natural kind of Pokemon design where you're like, oh yeah, that completely makes sense. I can totally see that in real life. Hopefully I don't, because that would probably mean that you would die. That would probably kill you. If you see it, it would probably kill you. But besides that though, Righton is one of the best badass Pokemon ever in the first gen Pokemon, and if you were patient enough to raise one, you're gonna be surprised with how powerful it wrecks. Of course, it knows all of the amazing ground type moves that you'll ever possibly need, as well as, you know, the rock type's pretty good, awesome. But Righton is a very good member of the team. He may be slow, but he can take a hit and dish it out even harder than he can even take that first hit. If that made sense to you, awesome, because I kind of lost track myself halfway through that. But that being said, Righton, you're one of the best Pokemon in Gen 1, and that's why you deserve top spot. The only negative thing I can say about you is, bro, that third evolution, what are you doing? You look like a construction worker. But we're not going to talk about that because that's Gen 4 and this is Gen 1. Righton is the king of ground rock type Pokemon in Gen 1. Take it or leave it. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. This has been my top 5 ground type Pokemon for Gen 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, you can totally have a different list than I do. I hope you do, because then you can tell me all about it in the comments below. Let me know what up. And thank you again for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe with all of your Pokemon fans. That'd be completely awesome. And again, you can follow me on the social media and check out my other videos right at the end. So with that, I'll leave you guys to next time. Later. Marowak, why?